Hey everybody, and welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. I'm Jesse, and today we're going to make a grid layout. MaterialUI is the framework that we're using to style our React app, and they have this grid component built in. So we're going to use that, but we're going to make it possible for the user to switch between views. So the grid view will be one possible view of several. So we'll probably just work on two views today, the grid view, and then the main view, which will be the default. We've already seen that. So probably we won't really need to work on it that much, but we will need to make sure that we can switch back and forth. So I haven't decided yet what the best way to do that is, and by that I mean how are we going to handle how that information is passed between components in terms of what the view should be. So I'm going to start by telling you what I think the solution could be, and then getting feedback from you all, and depending on what feedback I get, that'll determine how we solve that problem. So today is Friday the 13th, so I'm not really superstitious at all, but if you are superstitious about that sort of thing, watch your back today, because it's Friday the 13th. Alright, let me check the live chat real quick, just say hi. World says, you look less tired today. Okay, that's cool. I'll take that. I was trying to think if I got sleep. I don't even remember how much sleep I got. I was up earlier than normal with kids, but I think I got at least 7 hours. So, let's see. I'm surprised. I think I actually look really weird on this camera because I got different lighting coming from my screens depending on whether I have a light screen or a dark screen. So, it's always odd to see myself like that. Oh, okay. All right, let me fill you in on what happened yesterday. So Sebastian asked about the issue with the resource center that we looked at the end of the stream yesterday. So I had actually forgotten about that until you brought it up. So, man, it looks like my mic is still popping. I wonder if maybe it's not my phone. So the phone's far away, the cord's farther away than it's ever been. If it keeps popping and it gets really bad, let me know, and I will just switch over to the built-in mic. Alright, it's good now? Okay. Yeah, like I said, if it gets really bad, I'll just switch over. I'm using an external mic now, but I could just use the one that's built into the iMac. And the mic I got, it wasn't really that expensive, so if it's breaking, then I guess that's what I get for buying a cheap mic. Okay, so here's what the problem was. So we had correctly set up the max file size in our server.js file. This was for the our last project, project 2, which was the resource center. We had set up a file upload form, and we used Formsy. Was it Formsy? No. We used Formsy for client side form validation. Server side, we used Formidable. So we used Node Formidable, and we set our max file size. And we had it set at something very reasonable. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it should have been able to handle the amount of data that was going in. So it occurred to me that, oh, maybe Nginx needs to be set. And I looked it up, and it turns out the default max upload size for Nginx is 1 megabyte. So anytime someone was exceeding that 1 megabyte, either with one file that was big or the total of all files that were being uploaded, then it was failing. It wasn't even getting, to our server.js file. It was failing at our Nginx level, which we were using as a reverse proxy on that DigitalOcean droplet. So I just looked up how to increase the max upload size. So I increased the max upload size, and then I increased the timeout. I forget what it was called, but basically I increased the amount of time it would allow something to be uploaded. That fixed the problem. So that was it. And I think it was, Sebastian, was it you who said it was probably the upload size? So you were definitely right about that. I just was thinking that somehow it was in our server.js file that we had messed it up, but we didn't. That was fine. It was with Nginx. And that was entirely on me, because I don't think I set up that server on the stream. So had I done so, one of you all probably would have thought of it, but I didn't. So we're going to have to keep that in mind for this project, because we will have... Will we have a file upload? I think we might. I'll have to double check on the other... We're not going to work on it today, so it doesn't matter, but I'll double check on the live version of this project and see if we have a file upload. Okay, so let's see. Oh, okay, so it wasn't you. So somebody said something about file upload, so I don't remember who it was, but whoever it was, you were right. Let's see. Hey, everybody. All right, Gideon's here. Hey, Gideon. He says he's late today. Don't worry, you weren't that late. Just a few minutes. Okay. Oh, okay. Awesome. Font size. Is that better? Does that work? Okay. All right. Let's get started. And I am going to remember to set my timer today. So I want to do kind of a shorter stream today. It depends on how things go, but it's Friday, and I want to go home and see my family. So I don't want to stream for a really long time, because I want to get out of here. So we're gonna do at least one session, maybe two. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's get started. Let me show you what's going on right now. I have done some things so far. Depending on how much time we have at the end, I might review the pull requests, but just be aware I've merged two pull requests, one from Harshit, one from Sebastian, and both awesome pull requests. So you can review those as pull requests 6 and 7. We're going to see some of the changes because we're going to be working on those same files that were changed, but I'm not going to try to go over them right now, but I will go over them later if we have time. Okay, so here's kind of a demonstration of using this grid component. So Harsh had actually put the grid component in on his pull request, so I modified it slightly, but that was part of his pull request. So you can see the other part as well. So we now have a responsive sidebar, so it automatically hides or shows depending on screen width. So that's awesome. That's exactly the behavior that we wanted from that component. So so thanks again for that, Harshit. And so actually those were the big parts of his pull request. So I guess we did review it at least from this end of things. So basically, when we have the grid view, we want things to stack up like this. And let me see. We'd probably, when the screen got this big, we'd probably want to go even smaller. But I just put some numbers in there just to demonstrate. So we drop down to 2 columns, then we drop down to 1. And then when we go to our default view is going to look like what we have here. So this is what we want our default view to look like. And then we've just seen the grid view. So those are the 2 views that we want. We want to be able to toggle them from this button up here. If I can zoom, I'm trying to zoom in here and it's not working. I don't know what's going on. The batteries are almost dead on my trackpad. There we go. So I may have to change out the batteries here in the middle of the stream. But when we press this, what we want to happen is that icon will change, because the second click will take you back to the default view. So we'll have 2 icons that change in and out depending on what you click here. Then obviously we want all of these cards that have our posts to go to the new layout based on the click. So here's what I'm thinking about. Actually, I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget. So I actually wrote it down on a piece of paper with a real pen. So really old school today. So here's what we need. We need to be able to pass the value. So I don't know what we're going to do, to state or something, but we need the components to be aware. So we need, obviously, this app bar component to be aware of what the user selected for the view type, the layout type. We also need this category.js component to be aware of the layout type. So what we need then, and this could go a couple of ways. So do we just have the state exist in the app bar component and then pass it down as a prop to our category.js component? Because this app bar, I believe, lives in our layout component. So potentially the state could exist at the layout component and be passed down as a prop to our app bar. And if you're not familiar with React, this is probably really confusing. I'm going to describe this now, but then we're actually going to go in and do the code, and hopefully it'll be less confusing for you. So that's one option, right? We just take the parent component of both of those, and we have the state there, and we pass it down as props. That's a possibility. The other possibility is, do we have our store, basically? So I know we're not using Redux directly now because we switched out for Apollo, which uses Redux behind the scenes anyway. So I guess what my question is if we wanted to have a global store that would hold that value so that any of our components could have access to it, would we be able to do that with Apollo, or would we need to bring Redux back into the picture and use Redux for that? Or is that unnecessary? Now we will have some other views, and potentially we might have some other data that should be in some sort of global store. So Redux, if it has to be Redux and we can't do it with Apollo, Redux may seem like overkill for this one thing, but I suspect we're going to have some other pieces of data that would be useful to have in a global store. So I'll let you all think about that. If you have any thoughts, just put it in the live chat. For now, we may as well spend some time getting this grid layout to look how we want it to look, and that'll give us all some time to think about what we want to do. I mean, we can always implement one solution and then switch later if we need to. But I was going to try to do it earlier, and then I thought, no, I want advice from you all on this before I actually implement it. So let's get to some code. Let's see. Since we're going to be working on this first, let's check this out. Now, here's the thing that I'm not sure about. I did mess around with this a little bit, and I kept getting errors. And I decided to just remove what I was doing, and I figured we'll redo it on the stream, and it'll be easier for everyone to follow. So, in our category.js, let me make some space here. Alright. In our category.js file, right now, you see some of the stuff has changed, but basically the main thing here is that we've imported this grid component. So first we have this container, this grid container. If you want to check out what's going on, look at the docs for MaterialUI. Make sure you go to the newest version, the beta version, and then check on the under the layout tab. You can see more about this grid. There's a lot of other options we could do, but for now we're using this grid container, and then for each of our posts we're going to have this grid item, right? So each post, each card will be wrapped in this grid item, and right now we have it set on small screens to take up 12. So this is a column thing, much like we used with the column classes in MaterialUI CSS. Very similar to that. So we have extra small takes up 12, so the full width, then half width on small, and then a third on medium screens. I'm assuming large is LG, so let's go with large, and we'll just put in 4 right here. So I think I want that anyway. Let me put in the ngrok link. I forgot to do that at the beginning. So I already started it up before the stream. And okay. If you're not familiar with how we do things, I'll look at the live chat again after our Pomodoro session is up. So in about 15 minutes, I'll get to the live chat. So please don't think that I'm ignoring you. I will get to all the comments and questions in the live chat soon. Okay, so since we've wrapped that component, I want to go ahead and see what this looks like with 4. Yeah, okay, it's 4. Obviously, we don't have enough posts to really see the 4 columns, but you can guess, right? There would be 2 more. Okay, so here's the first thing that we need to handle. So if we're going to keep it like this, we need some way to either change these values or just use a ternary, right, like an if statement, and render it this way, or the original way we were rendering it like yesterday, right, how we render it on the home page. Because here's what happens. Let me make large 12. So this is what happens if we just try to change the value to 12. It gets really big, so we don't want that. So if there's some way, I mean, realistically, we could just set a max width on the cards, right? I guess that's an option. I'm assuming that this would just be positioned in the middle. Let's try that. Let's set a max width. Where's the card? I have DevTools open on my other screen here, so I'm just going to set a max width in DevTools just to try it out. Let's go 500 pixels. Okay. So it actually isn't, it doesn't get centered. I'm not sure if we could. Okay. So we could potentially just give it a max width of however many pixels we want, and then a margin 0 auto, and that would work. Okay, that's not bad. That's actually not too bad. My initial idea was to just have basically duplicate this, take out the grid, and then render one or the other based on the view. But if all we have to do is add or take away those 2 lines of CSS, that just may be the simplest approach. That would result in the least amount of code. So let's do that. Okay. So I think that's settled. Now, let's see. Okay, Omar says you could do like the column offset. John Hansen says you could flex justify items. Okay, and Sebastian says there is something built in. All right, let's check that out. I'd much rather work with what's built into MaterialUI rather than just use some CSS to override. I mean, in this case, the override is just like really obvious and easy, but still, I think if we can use what's built into MaterialUI, we have less of a chance of like weird things happening in our UI that are that we haven't thought of. You know, on some browser screen with device combination, we might have something weird happen and we won't know about it. We're less likely to have that happen if we don't try to override things in MaterialUI. Okay, so let's check it out then. Where we at? Layouts, grid. Should we use the centered then? Okay. Sebastian says the last one, this demo, okay, where we have things centered. All right, let's see what it looks like. All right, so if we justify center and align center, then so I guess this would be basically what we need. Justify direction. Okay, let's try it out. So what was that again? Class name, created. Okay, so this is a container. It's just inside. Sorry, that's probably really small. I didn't even think about it. Okay. let's see, I do want to set this because I don't want these centered. There we go. I didn't want them centered on the page. You remember we tried that on a previous project, and it seemed like a good idea, but then we actually look at it, it was really weird. Okay, so we do just want justified center. Okay. Alright, let's try it. This should be pretty simple. I think if we just say justify, let's separate this out a bit. And it is center, right? Yep, center. Okay. I'll check it out now. Okay. It looks like we would probably still need a max width, but it should be centered now. So if we give it the max width, and it's not. Yeah, okay. So what happened here? Grid continue just for center. Alright, let's look back here and see if we missed something. Alright, let's make sure we have direction row as well. Alright, I'm just going to put the max width right on these because it's getting annoying to do it every time. Whoops. Style. Max. Alright. Now that's weird. I guess I could put it on here. Alright, cool. That works. Let me go back. Actually, no, that did not work how I wanted it to work. We need... Alright, let me check the live chat and see if I'm missing something that you all have seen. Okay. Blake asks, what's the MaterialUI link? It's material-ui.com. Alright. Let's think. Maybe this isn't going to be the simplest way. Alright, let's see. 12. Yeah, so it's messing up what we're doing here, the max width is. But this max width has no effect. So let's get rid of this. And I want to inspect this quickly and see what's happening with that max width and if it's being applied anywhere. Alright, so we have our grid, and then within that, let's see. Okay, I see. Alright, we're a little bit stuck, right? So I've just manually set max width in DevTools, and you'll see the highlighted portion right now is the div that is from the grid component. And then this div that's highlighted now is the card component. So you could see the orangish part there is the margin. So the grid, I don't know if the grid's going to be able to center this the way we want. So we might be better off just doing a little bit of our own CSS. Yeah, so Sebastian says the problem is that the large 12 will use full width on the large screen. And that's it, but if we want it to be one column, then we have to use the 12. Okay. All right, let's see. Alright, let's get rid of this for now. Actually, this might not be applying because it's possible that we're not passing the styles onto this component. So we'll have to remember that. So I guess I'll leave this in here for now. Okay, my timer is up. Let's do 5 minutes of question and answer, and that'll give us all a minute to think about this as well. Really, I probably should just do something so that we can move on, and we can always change it if we want to later on. Alright, let me scroll up and start going through here. Okay. Alright, I see a lot of you also saying hi. Hey everybody. I see some new people in the live chat that I haven't seen the names before. So welcome. Thank you for joining us for the live stream. Nick Hill says maybe the sidebar could be improved in terms of user interface. Yeah, I think it could. It's still a work in progress now. So I want to get all of our options on the sidebar first, and then I'm going to adjust it at that point. So this is not going to be its final form. So I definitely agree with that. Okay, Sebastian says, so earlier when I was talking about whether or not we have a global store or we just pass things down as props to components from a parent component, Sebastian says, if you have a global store, then yes, include it there. If not, you can use React State directly and switch components based on the state. I think that's going to be the simplest way to do it, is just to keep the state in the parent component and pass it down to the child components. And if it gets more complex later on, we could always add Redux if we have to. Xavier says, what's your opinion on CSS grids? Okay, and Rook asks for some clarification, saying, do you mean the CSS feature called grid or the thing Bootstrap and other CSS frameworks do? Let's see. Okay, it doesn't look like Xavier responded. So, Xavier, I'm going to assume that I'll just answer both, either way. So, if we're talking about the grid structure that's common among CSS frameworks, I think it's really easy to work with. Despite my problems with this framework here, I like them. I think it makes it very easy to do responsive layouts. I haven't worked directly with the new CSS feature that is grid that much at all. I basically just kind of read a little bit about it. So honestly, I think any new feature of CSS is a good thing, right? You don't have to use it, so it's not really bad because you could just choose not to use it. But since it's there, you have the potential to use it on something. So I'm hopeful that it'll be very useful. So I just need to learn a little bit more about it before I start using it. Blake's asked, can you change the color of the wave effect on the category buttons? Probably. Oh, yeah, I can definitely change it. It will change at some point. Let's see. All right, Nikhil says, could something like an image holder be used here? Like when the website loads, there are these frames / image holders present, then the image loads. That might speed up the website a bit, improve the UI. Yeah, let me think. Yeah, we might be able to do that. I'll probably wait till later on. If everything runs really fast, then I probably won't bother implementing something like that. But if we are running into some performance issues, then that would be good to have in there. What do they call it? Premature optimization, right? So, yeah, but that'll be good to put in if we need it later on if we have time. Okay, I'm almost to the bottom of the live chat, so my timer went up, but I'm just going to answer these last few. Rook asks, is that dark GitHub theme a standard feature? The white is kind of blinding. Yeah, it's not a standard feature. It is I have this plugin called Tamper Monkey that lets me run scripts on certain pages. So I use that plugin with another thing called GitHub Dark. So with those two things, it gives me all these options of various, like a dark theme, but I could I could change it. They have pre-made themes, but then also you could customize it even further if you wanted to. I never tried any of these other themes. Maybe I should try them one day. Anyway, so that's that's how I have it. Okay, Michael says, hey Jesse, I never catch these live. Love the streams. I always catch them later the same day. Oh, well, I'm really glad that you could be here live for this stream. That's awesome. Nino says, is this video for advice for front end, for advanced front end? It just depends on what we're working on. So sometimes we work on more advanced topics for front end. Occasionally we do work back end and DevOps stuff. Mostly front end though. Sometimes we go over some basic front end stuff. So it just kind of depends on what we're working on day to day. For this, I don't know. This stream falls maybe somewhere in the middle. I don't really think it's that advanced, but if you're not familiar with React, some of it might be kind of confusing. So hang in there and ask as many questions as you want if anything is confusing. Let's see. All right, last question, and then we're going back to the code. So Inna, is it pronounced Inna or Ina? Let me know. I don't want to mess it up. All right. Let's start the timer. First is correct, Inna. Okay, awesome. Yeah, if I ever pronounce any of your names incorrectly, call me out on it and let me know. I want to get them right. Okay. So I guess we're doing 2 Pomodoro sessions. I know I said I was going to do one, but now that I'm into it, I want to get something done here. Oh, okay. I just saw Nikhil's comment here about the logo and the adjacent top are different size. Okay. Where's this at? Where's my... there we go. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, actually, you know what? I was looking at this earlier today, and I kind of thought the same thing. What do you all think? Is it okay that these are different sizes, or would it look a lot better if, let's say, this line lined up with the bottom of the at bar? So we'd either make the logo smaller or the at bar bigger. I like this size for the logo. I'm a little hesitant to make it smaller. I think it could be slightly smaller, so maybe it needs to be a compromise where we meet right about here. I'm a big fan of a slim top nav, but in this case, this does look a little weird. Let me know what you all think. Potentially, though, it might not look quite as weird if we take out this line. We'll see. I want to know what you all think, and then maybe we could try several different options. Not on today's stream, but on another stream. We'll try it out. Okay, so let's get this thing done here, because I spent a whole Pomodoro session just trying to get this lined up in the middle. Cool. Okay, I see there's a lot of stuff coming up in the live chat now. Just want to let you know, for those who are just joining us, I will get to all your questions in the live chat as soon as this Pomodoro session is over. So I just started one, so we have in 23 minutes. I'm going to go back to the live chat. I'm going to answer everything. So if you can't stick around to hear the answer live, you can hear the answer later on when the recording of the stream is available on the freeCodeCamp YouTube channel. All right, let's do this. So here's what I'm going to do for now, just so that we can get something that works and worry about how we're going to handle state, because that's really the big issue that I'm more concerned about. this issue is like, we know how to make it work. We're just trying to figure out the best way to do it. So for now, justify center. All right, we can get rid of this, right? Because we didn't. Oops, not all of that. We can get rid of these. I don't think we were actually. Oops, we actually need that. Also, we can get rid of this. Oh no, you know what? I think I want to keep that. Yeah, let's keep that here, and then and then we'll give it a margin of 0 auto. All right, so that's how we'll center it. The 0 means top and bottom margin is 0, and then auto means it just automatically fills in the left-right margin equally. But now we need to actually pass these into that component. So let's check out our post preview component, which I don't have it up right now. So let's go back to here, post preview. Okay. So let's see. All right, we have styles here. Class name, styles. Styles. Let's see if that's enough to do it. I don't remember how I've done this in the past. Oops, styles not defined. Oh, hold on a second. Style. Yeah. Awesome, that did it. Okay, let me explain what I did in case you're not familiar with React. So, in our category.js file, we had put this style, these styles, right? And think of this as just inline CSS. It's really a JavaScript object, but that's how we do it in React. So, initially it didn't work because this component, it wasn't really rendering anything to the DOM, right? It was rendering this component, this post preview component, and then on this component, what really ends up getting rendered is, you know, this card, which in itself is a whole nother component. So there's a lot of layers to it. But basically, what we needed to do was pass it the styles. So we're passing the styles down from parent to child component, and at first it didn't work because with this component, instead of having to type this props style, we bring everything in here, and then we don't have to type this props. So really useful to do it that way, just in terms of, in this case, it wouldn't have been a big deal, but if you have to type the same prop over and over again, or a lot of props, you can save a lot of characters by doing it like this. Okay, so that's what we did. So now what we have, and we can go, so you can see it still works. So we should be able to keep, let's try this. Actually, this might have just simplified things a lot for us. So if we go back to 3 with this one, great. Alright, so what this means is we actually only need to change one thing in this component. We can leave these styles here. That's not a problem. All we have to do is change this value. We'll probably want to change it across the board. Yeah, we'll probably want to change it across the board to 12, but now we don't have to worry about changing any styles. Alright, so let's do this now. We're going to go all the way up to our parent component for all of this. So if you see our layout, so this is where we're actually rendering this component. So this is the category component. and this is a stateless functional component. But then we also have this render categories. Okay, and that's a child component of category, right? But we also are wrapping this in layouts. Layout is where we bring in our app bar as well. So let's see. Actually, this might be a little bit more complicated than I thought. So layout, I'm trying to think of whether or not the state should live in layout or should it live in category. I would rather have it live in layout because I want these views to persist across, the home view and category views and whatever other thing we have. So we will have some other things. Let's see. So we can do this layout. Okay. Okay, so here's the thing. If we make the state live in layout, is there even any way for me to pass something from layout to any of these components? I don't know. It is kind of looking like maybe we should have a global store. My thing is this. Basically, if we have the state live here in category, then we're going to have the state living in two different places. So we're going to have it here in category, and then we're also going to have it in the regular home view. So we're going to have it in home view as well. Let's see. Yeah. So we're not going to have consistency across state. We don't want two different states. We're not really going to be able to keep them in sync. I mean, I guess we could, but we're going to be repeating a lot of markup. So, I mean, I was just thinking, like, let's say that we had the state exist at each of our views, all right, which is repetitive, and then we had some sort of on-click that got passed up. Up to the parent component, right? So we had, like, the on-click handler would live in the parent component and get passed down as a prop, right? But we'd have to have that same one in every parent component, every one of our views. So that's not good. React clone element is prop children. Okay, so Harsha just posted some stuff, some code in the live chat. So let's see. saying react.cloneElement, this props children logged in, this state logged in. All right, so you're saying that here we could pass props to the children. If that's the case, that's actually exactly what we need. All right, let's try it out. So let me go. Let's see. I'm going to copy this and paste it in here. All right, for now, let's see. Layout type. And for now, we'll just say grid. All right, let's see. Okay, it didn't like that. It didn't like this React clone element. Are we bringing in? Yeah, we're bringing in React. Alright, let me see. I just looked up on my other screen, one of my other screens, how to pass props with this props children or state. Okay, I see. I need this. Right, clone element. Data, this props data. All right, we might need to map over this. React. All right, let's see. Okay. I'm going to try this. Okay, so from the example that I just saw on Stack Overflow, they were mapping through and then cloning the element. So it said that you have to clone it because I guess the children are immutable, so you can't directly do anything. I guess that's not working either. I don't think it likes us using React inside there. So if we pull this out, let's put it up here. Under children. Okay. Let's try it like that. It doesn't want us to put anything in here. What is the problem? Oops, did I not? That's really weird. Alright, let me get rid of this. And then this. That's so weird. Why is it not upset about this? But it was upset before. Okay, child is not defined. No undefined. Line 36. I don't know, maybe, I wonder how old this is. It's not that old. Oh well. Okay. Harshit is submitting a pull request. Bulletin React. Okay, not yet. Are you working on a pull request for that then? Let me check my time. 2 minutes. Okay. Alright, so for now, All right. Let's try this now. Ah. Okay. Xavier says you wouldn't have this problem with CSS grids. Well, it's not it's not the layout anymore that's the problem. It's trying to pass the state. I can't believe I'm saying this now, but Redux would probably make this simpler. That's because Redux was so hard for me to grasp. It was so complex, but they're probably. I mean, I know how I would do this in Redux. All right. Let's just get rid of this and go back to how it was, where it worked. And all right. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. It's Friday. I'm not going to work on this anymore. We're going to come back on Monday. Now, if anybody wants to submit a pull request to try to fix this, that's wonderful. If not, I think on Monday, unless I come up with another idea, I think on Monday I'm just going to bring Redux back in or figure out a way to access the global store that Apollo is using and add to it. And I'm just going to have this in here because this is a perfect candidate for something that should be in a global store. It's something that needs to be accessed by multiple components. And it's going to have to be passed, down several components. So, that's one of the big benefits of Redux is when you have something like that, you don't have to keep passing, things back and forth between several levels of components. So that's the plan right now. At this point, I'm going to go to the live chat. I'm going to check out all the comments and questions, answer as many as I can, and then I'm going to finish up so that I can get out of here and enjoy the weekend. Although tomorrow I'm probably just going to code all day, so it's not like I'll be doing that much different, but I'll get to code all day from a recliner in my basement, so much more comfortable. Okay, I'm gonna go back up to where I left off. Let me commit this though, that way you all can see everything. Oops. Oh, you know what? I have my my terminal on my other screen. All right, let's bring this in. Get status. Alright, so we've changed our post preview and our category. Yep. Yep, that's exactly what we wanted to change. Let's see, what did we do? Oops. Okay. All right. So everything should be up now on GitHub. And okay, now let me go to the live chat. Okay, Blake asks, could you send the link for GitHub styles? Yeah, let me find it. GitHub Dark. Alright, I'm pretty sure this is it. I'm going to paste it in here. And if you're watching this later and can't see the live chat, if you just search GitHub Dark, GitHub Dark theme, for me it was the very first thing that came up. It's a GitHub repo. Okay, John Hansen says, CSS Grid is less code. It has a fair learning curve, though it's a game changer. It is a must learn, as it will work on all new browsers very soon. Alright, I'm going to have to take the time to learn it here sometime soon. Xavier says, I agree, CSS grids are much easier to work with than many grid systems in the most common frameworks. Cool. Oh, okay, Ennis says, I enjoy your stream. Awesome. I'm glad that you enjoy it. Let's see. And it says your English is great. I would hope it would be great, since I had to take English class every year of my life for the first, I don't know, since I started school and up till I was 18, I guess. Nino says, how long have you been coding? I started learning how to code when I was a teenager, but it was just really basic stuff, so I don't even think I'll count that. I did a little bit in college with C++, but I didn't really start to code until maybe like 5 years ago. And I would say like really seriously doing JavaScript coding or attempting to do JavaScript coding for about 3 years now. Before that, the 2 years before that, I did some, but a lot of what I did was basic HTML, CSS, WordPress theme customization, which is fine, and I made money doing that, and a lot of people make money doing that, but you don't really need to use a lot of like more in-depth, coding with that. So I'd say more realistic measurement is like 3 years of full-time, like dedicated work with coding, mainly JavaScript. Dead Zombie says, I just want to say how grateful I am for your tutorials. I recently started working as a junior front-end dev, and watching you helps me so much. Oh, awesome. Well, congratulations on the job. Really happy for you. And I'm really glad that I could help. So, awesome. I mean, that's like exactly why I initially wanted to do this stream, is to help out to help out and just show people, especially people who are newer, just what it's like for what I do. Let's see. Okay, Anna asks, do you have a mentor? Sadly, I don't really have a mentor. I had kind of a mentor, so I had a friend, and he was actually younger than me, but I'd known him since, I don't know, probably my early teenage years, and I was good friends with his older brother, and he's the reason that I started actually doing coding for a living. I didn't have a job at the time, and I had 2 kids and a wife, and I really needed to get a job and make some money, and he brought me on with his, he had like a media marketing company, and he brought me on, and basically I did work for him, but he paid me to learn. You know, it was an hourly job, and he would say, take a couple hours, I'll pay you for it, and learn how to do this thing or that thing. And then he'd give me work based on that. So that was really awesome. He taught me a lot about contracts and clients, about search engine optimization and different things like that. So in terms of like JavaScript coding, not necessarily a mentor in that, but in just a lot of other things that that happen, he was a mentor to me. Also a really good friend. So that's the kind of the closest I've had to a mentor. But it'd be cool. I mean, I've gotten advice from people who have been doing this for a lot longer than me, or who are a higher level skill-wise than me. I wouldn't really say mentorship, just, you know, advice here and there. Let's see. Wow. So Dead Zombie says, one guy who's been working for 3+ years as a front-end dev has been assigned to me. Cool. So assigned as your mentor? Just to clarify so I understand. That's really cool to be. Like I said, I haven't really had a mentor in terms of coding specifically with JavaScript, but from everything I've read about mentorship and how important it is, like, it can be a huge help. Jamular, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. So Jamular says, do you have any course on Android development? Sorry for asking you something awkward. Oh no, don't be sorry at all. That's definitely not awkward. Feel free to ask anything. I don't currently have any courses on Android development, and I don't think, like me personally, I don't have it. I don't think that freeCodeCamp does, but I'm not 100% sure. If they do, it would probably be some sort of video series, or potentially like, I don't know, blog posts about it in the freeCodeCamp Medium publication. So I don't know. I would maybe check the playlist on this YouTube channel to see if there's something. I am working right now on learning React Native, which can be used for Android development. So I really hope to be using some React Native stuff on a stream at some point. Potentially we might turn this project or another one of our projects that we've already done into an Android app and an iOS app with React Native. So if you can't find something, you know, right now, you know, hopefully within the next, I don't know, month or two, maybe I could squeeze it in. So I don't actually have any official projects or directives from my boss to do an app, but I think we could work it in to spend a little bit of time here and there working on it. I think that would be nice. That would be the kind of thing that I could just kind of surprise my boss with and say, hey, I've been messing around with this. Check it out. And I think he would be happy with that. At that point, when he saw it, then he would probably say, okay, keep working on this, and then we could do more with it. Oh, okay. So you all heard the vibration when someone was calling on my phone. Yeah, I normally don't answer during the stream unless I think it's really important. I think that was just a spam caller, though, so I wouldn't have answered it anyway, even if I wasn't streaming. Oh, okay. Lockie is asking about what the theme is in Visual Studio. So yeah, Blake said this is Atom. So yeah, this is Atom and not Visual Studio. Sometimes I do use Visual Studio, but I'm not for this project. The theme is Seti. So SETI is the theme. Oh, wait a second. Harshit, React clone element, this props, children test. Alright, so Harshit just pasted some new stuff in. Oh, okay. Merge PR7. Hold on a second. Let's see what's going on. Alright, let's check this out quickly. Okay, so this ended up working. Cool. I'll merge this in a second. I'm just going to copy and paste it real quick just so that I can show on the stream that it works. Actually, let me... Alright, let's just merge this right now. We'll merge the request. Okay, so I know I said yesterday that normally you'd want to test it out, but literally one line has changed, right? I can see what line that is, so we're safe to merge this in. Alright, now, oops. Let's pull it in. Isn't Git amazing? We just had live collaboration right here on the stream with code being pulled in, so that's really cool. Thanks, Harshit, for the code. Let's check it out. No. What is this? You like to export your code from the files to find it. That's ridiculous. Let me restart the server because that shouldn't have anything to do with what we're doing. No. After I just said... Now I feel silly. Because I just said, oh, we don't have to worry about it. It's just one line. What is... How? You all saw it. You saw the code, right? This was it. React clone element, this props children test. What? Alright, I'm just going back to the live chat right now. Alright, let me finish in the live chat. Alright, so for now... Let me just revert. Yeah, let's revert this. I just want to make sure that it was this, and not something else weird that's happening. Okay, so we've reverted this 9. Alright, so I have to merge this now, right? Yeah. Alright. Our commit history is going to be a little messy. Alright, so let's double check, make sure. Okay, yeah, it definitely was something. Alright, so anyway, we'll figure this out after the stream. Well, not really. I'll figure it out on Monday. Let me finish with the live chat. Okay, Anna asks, do you have any trouble with deadlines? No, not really. The deadlines here are not always like strict deadlines, so I don't really have a problem. So I should say, like, in terms of the initial deadlines for projects, I don't always meet the initial ones, but that's because the scope of the project usually changes at some point. And because it changes, then we change the launch date accordingly because it's just not realistic anymore. Also, I'm usually waiting on other people for approval for different things. So a lot of times I have everything done before it actually needs to launch. But then because I have to wait on more information or different things, it doesn't launch on time. I mean, in that case, what can I do? I'm waiting on people that are my superiors to get back to me with the okay that we can launch this. So generally, though, I do launch things on time. So it hasn't been an issue. There's never been a time where, I've been reprimanded for not making a deadline. Usually, it's been the opposite, and people have been pleasantly surprised at how quickly I can get things done. So not all the time, but a lot of times. So luckily it's that. I'm getting a lot better at correctly estimating how long things will take. It's taken me a long time to get to that point when I can estimate correctly. But I would say if you're giving an estimate on how long something should take, always overestimate. Complications always arise in projects. So very rarely will everything go perfectly according to plan. So factor that into your time. If you need to give time estimates, definitely give yourself some allowance for that unexpected element that always seems to happen. All right, Blake says, I have my portfolio running off a GitHub repo with pages running, but I want to run it off of the username repo. What is the best way to do it? Oh, okay, it looks like Rook already answered and says, basically create a repo with your username.github.io as the name and enable pages. Okay, cool. I didn't realize you could do that. So thanks Rook, for that answer. Harshit says, what plans about the server? How will you protect the WordPress API? It still returns a 403. Yeah, it does still return a 403. I'm not sure if that's something to do with the plugin. So probably when we get closer to the time when this will actually launch, I'll worry more about it if it's still returning a 403. But until that time, I'm just going to continue to upgrade the plugin when new upgrades come out. And because I think they're aware of the problem. I do need to double check in the Slack channel, but I'm pretty sure someone's already reported the issue. It might be reported on GitHub as well. So I think it's being worked on. And this project, the WP GraphQL plugin project, seems to be pretty active. There's always activity on the Slack channel, at least every day. So that it probably should be fixed, I would think, before we're ready to launch. In terms of the server, we do need to figure something out about WordPress. So I don't know if you've realized this or not yet, but potentially, right, if we want this to be a login only site, so we don't want anybody to be able to see this except users who can log in, that's fine, but what if somebody knows how to use the WordPress API or GraphQL and decides they're going to try to pull data from our WordPress installation? Now, normally that would be a very kind of remote possibility, right? Because we could certainly not advertise the URL at all. We could make it some crazy long URL that no one would ever guess, try to hide it like that, but potentially someone could still get it. There's still a chance. So it's not enough to just have our React portion of this password protected. We have to have some way to protect it from the WordPress end. So that's something we're going to have to think about. I think we have multiple options on how to do that. So we will get to that at some point. I'm still not 100% sure how I want to do it though. So if anyone has any ideas about that, let me know. We'll talk about it in an upcoming stream more. Like I said, I do have some ideas. I just kind of need to test them out and see if they'll work with the GraphQL plugin that we're using. World says, what's the advantage of using MaterialUI instead of some other framework like Flexbox or Bootstrap? For MaterialUI, they have React components built in, so that's a huge advantage if you're using React. Otherwise, so some frameworks rely on jQuery to do some things, and or not, or potentially vanilla JavaScript. But either way, you're not really supposed to manipulate the DOM through other means. All DOM manipulation should be done the React way within your components. Otherwise, it messes up React's ability to have an accurate picture of the state of the DOM at all times. So it's better to use a framework that is made for React and works within those constraints than to use another one. It's not impossible though. If you check out Project 1, we used just a regular non-React framework, Materialized CSS, that's very similar to Bootstrap, and we made it work with React. It worked. I mean, the site's functional. It's been live for a couple of months now, and we've had no problems with it. So it's just better to do everything right the React way. Oh, Harshit says, tell me I will work on it this weekend. I'm not sure at what point what I was talking about when you made that comment. So Harshit, let me know what in particular were you saying that you would work on. I mean, there's definitely a lot to work on still, and if you're willing to work on it this weekend, that would be amazing. Eric asks, how hard is it to learn React from using Angularjs? Let's see. I don't know that I'm the best to answer this because I knew a little bit about Angular before I started using React, but I was not an experienced Angular developer, by any means at all. I just kind of messed around with it on side projects and wasn't very successful. So if you know Angular, I don't think it'd be that hard for you to figure out React, but they are different. So you won't be able to just come straight over and say, okay, this in Angular equals this thing in React exactly. Right? right? So it's a little bit different mindset. But if someone has the skills to be able to learn Angular, I have no doubt that they also have the skills to be able to learn React. So I wouldn't worry too much about it if you were trying to make the switch. But I would say, like, just be open to thinking about things differently with React than you did with Angular. So, like, don't think there's going to be, like I said, those exact correspondence to the way you do things or how things work. So, but I don't think someone who knows Angular would have any issues in learning React. Let's see. Sokisic. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Sokisic. Sochisic. So anyway, says hello from Russia. Thanks for your streams. Hey, welcome and how's it going in Russia? Thanks for saying that. You're welcome. I'm glad that you're watching the stream and that you joined us here in the live chat. Oh, cool. Okay, Anna says, thank you for your stream. Have a good day and weekend. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for watching, being in the live chat, and you have a great weekend as well. Plugin. Oh, okay. Okay, so Harsha was talking about the plugin. Yeah. So authentication on the server, like OAuth 2.0 plugin. Okay, so Harshit is commenting a little bit about this authentication and our WP GraphQL plugin. So Harshit says, my idea is to screw up the plugin and write our custom GraphQL query. This way we will use authentication on the server like OAuth 2.0 plugin. Okay, I'm open to it. Xavier asks, Jesse, what is it you want to try to do with your grid layout? I kind of want to give it a shot with CSS grids over the weekend. Okay, so basically, I want to, I guess I can show you on this other site. Let's see. This will probably be the easiest way to just show you. All right. Okay. So here's the current bulletin. This is the default view, right? Which looks pretty much like the default view we have now. And then when you click on this icon for grid view, it goes like this. And then you can go back to what I'm calling list view. And of course it's responsive, so even if you were in grid view and you went down to mobile size, it would only take up one column. So as you get smaller, you have less columns. So that's basically what I'm trying to accomplish, that we can click a button and have the views switch. All right. Awesome. Okay, Xavier says challenge accepted. All right, cool. That's it. I'm at the bottom of the live chat. So, it's after 4 p.m. on a Friday. It's almost time for me to get out of here. So, thank you so much for watching, for joining the live chat, for helping me. Thanks for the pull requests. This was a really nice stream. I liked it. We didn't get that much done, but we talked about a lot of issues that we're going to face in the future, and we have some ideas, so I like that. I think we're on a good track here. And some new people today in the live chat, so that's always awesome. I enjoy meeting you virtually here. So I'll be back Monday, and until then, have a great weekend.